Welcome to the NC Spin After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website. John Hood, what do you wish you had said last week, but you didn't get a chance to?
Tom, I made a recent quick reference to the idea that 700,000, potentially more, absentee ballots being cast in North Carolina is quite a bit lower than was originally thought. The original thought was that millions of North Carolinians, a third, 40%, 45%, maybe more, of North Carolinians would want to vote by mail. Does not turn out to be true, at least not as yet. And for one, am glad. Now, I'm not arguing that there's anything wrong with voting by mail. I'm not arguing that voting by mail is some huge open door to hundreds of thousands of fraudulent ballots or something like that. I'm actually concerned about recent events in other states where people who haven't voted by mail before vote by mail, and inadvertently they spoil their ballots. They forget to sign it. They mark it in the wrong way. They don't post it they don't mail it in time. Now, in North Carolina, there's been a court case and a decision that the judge said North Carolina has to provide people an opportunity to correct a spoiled ballot. But I'm not sure how many people will pay attention to a letter or a phone call or some other reach out from the Board of Elections. And here's what I'm afraid of. As we get to November, we have a very close race for something, president, Senate, governor, whatever, and you've got some ballots that are disallowed. And the argument is, well, if they'd been allowed, then the result would be different, and we'd have sort of a hanging Chad fight.
And we're going to hear charges of fraud and corruption.
And just sort of the voters' intent not being fully carried out.
Right.
And this is what I'm concerned about. Again, I don't think we can do anything about it. But frankly, I'm glad it isn't, 2 million people in North Carolina voting by mail. I think that will create a larger risk than the one I'm describing.
I don't think there's any question. And you have publicly on NC Spin several times denied the fact that there was widespread corruption that took place in absentee ballots. What's the last date people can request an absentee ballot? Do you know?
Whatever that date is, don't wait for it. If you're thinking right now about requesting ballot, request it now, fill it out and mail it now, because you get close to the election, there's going to be some problems. It just is. And we're going to increase the burden on the people who count these ballots. Now, there are, in fact, fraudulent absentee ballots. Voter fraud is a problem with absentee ballots. It's just, it does not involve hundreds of thousands of ballots.
Right.
It could determine the result of elections that are a few dozen in the margin, or maybe a few hundred. And so I think we should take precautions. At least in North Carolina, unlike in other places, it is not legal to harvest ballots. That is a horrible idea. Unfortunately, one of the attempts that Democrats made this year was to try to get ballot harvesting in North Carolina, which of course we should not, both parties should be against it.
Interesting. Well, thanks for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.